Welcome to Real Money Talks. Real strategies from the money makers and the world changers that you can use to make millions, keep those millions, multiply your wealth, and build your team. Here's your host, author of 5 New York Times bestsellers, money expert on Dr. Phil, CNN, CNBC, The Street TV, Fox News, and The View, Loral Langemeier.
There we go. And so again, welcome. We are recording, going live. I'm going to tell my team, go ahead and take it live on all social channels for just a moment and invite people over. Let's go live everywhere. And those of you that are out there, if you want to take us live, that would be great. The more, the merrier. But tonight, what are you excited about, Adam? Just for the call in the next couple.
Yeah, I'm excited about making an impact. That's one of my core things in life. I love to make an impact in people's lives. So if there's someone out there that I could reach, somebody that I can maybe inspire to take action, to live their dreams, that's what uplifts me and excites me.
All right. And then I'm going to have, our voice from behind who's running the slide, Steve, because a lot of you'll be hearing a lot from him as we move into the year through Fast Cash. What are you excited about? For the call.
Absolutely. I'm just excited about a lot of the really new, cool stuff that we're going to bring to all of you. Like, I think part of the last 6 months has been, what do you guys want? Okay, let's get together, bring in the teams that are going to help you with it. And that's coming to fruition. So I'm excited about bringing all of that to everybody here.
All right. And Steve, if you want to take us live on those other platforms like we do normally on Ask Loral, that'd be awesome. We're going to go
Absolutely.
live. Perfect. All right. And stay in the chat, stay interactive. There'll be times where I'm going to ask you to come live and have a little chat out loud. But let's jump into the next slide. The one I have to put up forever and ever and ever and ever. It's education only. And it's so interesting. I'm actually going to have our lawyers review again, just one of these, but he's like, you guys are so smart. I mean, like, tax, the law, strategy, but we're not giving advice. And so we got to just put this up. So anything you hear, it is because someone else has done it. It's amazing experience, or just quite frankly, we know this works. And with all of our combined experience, I mean, thousands of years, not hundreds of years, thousands of years of experience, we nail it. And I'm curious, how many of you, and I want this to be a real situation, a real goal. When we were together in December, so actually, let's just do a quick check. How many of you were here December 21st when we did our regrets versus results? How many of you did that? Right? How many of you were here? All right, perfect. And then so a lot of you, so I'm not going to repeat any of that. So you know what a SMART goal is, right? It's very specific, it's very measurable, it's achievable, it's realistic, has a time frame. So what is before we even begin and really go through some real goal setting, just top of mind, what's your dollar amount? What are you going for new income? Right? New income and new assets is a category that we really define, we separate, all right? When we teach you to be millionaires, right? Our millionaire matrix, right? You're going to make money and you're going to invest money. They're two very different things. So what's the new income that you are working on for this year? 100 grand, 100 grand, 100 grand, 10,000 a month. So it's 120,000, 90,000 more in income. And then the goal, right, really following the principles of the Millionaire Maker, is that the more you make, the more you invest. It's not the more you make, the more you spend. It's the more you make, the more you're going to put to work into new asset classes. So it's really important that you start looking at, I call it the red car syndrome, right? How many red cars did you see as you drove into wherever you were today? Probably none, because it wasn't on top of mind. I need investing in new assets to be top of mind. I don't care if it's 500 a month, 1,000 a month, 10,000 a month, 100,000 a month. I have clients doing $250,000 a month. So how much from the money you're going to make, and you don't have to put this in the chat. I want you thinking though, and really planning this as we frame tonight, because we're going to be doing goal setting tonight, very specific goals. We're going to be doing values. We haven't done that in a long time. So if you didn't read the email, we said get at least 30 little sticky notes. And these are values cards. In fact, we'll talk about these in a moment. So we're going to go through your values. Your goals need to be absolutely set in your values. I haven't taught this in a long time, long time. And if I did teach it recently, it was at the big table only. So this is our big public first appearance in this. We're going to do a little Bob Proctor ABC goal setting. We're going to be doing some challenging objections. And we're going to wrap it up with a bunch of calls to actions and things to do to stay connected for the year. We have a very different year plan. This isn't a rinse and repeat of 2021. 2021 looked a lot like 2020 because we were still in that whole trend of the pandemic. This year is going to be different. In fact, starting next week, we're going to be coming really live. I mean, real estate's going to take an enormous shift, especially residential mortgages. Trillions of dollars of mortgages in the next 9 months are either going to come due for full pay, they're going to get called, and everything that you thought or were told or lied to, as Eileen can tell you, that you didn't think that you had to pay, is going to come to fruition. So there's a lot going to happen this year. A huge course corrections are going to happen, and your opportunity to be a millionaire in a year is right in front of you. So I would love to see millionaire status as your goal. But let's go to the next slide. Let's just kind of remind everybody again why and where we are. The core company that I started in 2000 was Live Out Loud, the conversations about money. And then we have moved it into the brand called Integrated Wealth Systems. Our mission is committed to creating and building wealth by changing the conversation about money in households around the world. We've been doing it in 6 of 7 continents now consistently since 2010. So we probably have the largest reach. What's interesting about COVID is how everyone tucks in to their local vicinity versus stretch into the world. And we're going to encourage you to do that. Now, as we jump into tonight, get a pen and paper, get some stuff. If you have a journal, if you've never journaled about your wealth building journey, you need to. And we're going to give you an opportunity to get one of our and these are only to the big table. These are leather bound red journals. They Live Out Loud, conversations about money, super cool. But get a journal, get a piece of paper, because you're going to need something to really work with. Get some sticky notes, because it's going to be important that you are present during the goal set, the values. And if you think you've already done your values and you're checking out, going, I already know my values are, I'm just going to challenge that. I've been taught by the best and the best in the world who studied values for a lifetime. That's what he does. So I teach money, he teaches values at a core cellular DNA level of how that works. So if you think you've had it just in a casual setting, cool, validate, use the conversation I'm gonna have with you to validate whether that was right or not. All right. And then how committed are you to live them? Would you die for them is really where we're gonna go. You say, my gosh, that got gruesome really fast. It's really serious. Like, how serious are you about getting your goals is how serious you are about living those in your values and living that a mission, which I will, people say all the time, when are you going to be done? I said, I'll never be done. I came to the planet to teach money. I love facilitating. It's fun to watch, especially my son who's 22, my daughter's 15, for years said, we will never be part of the family business. Like, I call this our family business. They said, no, Mom, that's yours. And now coming around just saying, there's so many uneducated people with money. Like, it's got to get out here. It's got you got to have help. You got to have help, and you got to help, people, Mom. And so when my son invited me to Georgia Southern to come teach the football team last spring, money. And now that's become a thing. In fact, we're actually starting a club, an association called the Attainable Wealth Association. And our association is going to be for athletes, for student athletes only. So super excited about just a lot going on this year. So I want you to make in your journal, let me just tell you how to journal and how to take notes. So there's this free flow of thinking. And by the way, when you write, not type, it's scientifically proven. When you write, not type, you have a better kinesthetic, and it's kinesiology and it's neurology. It triggers your memory and triggers things in your brain in a very different way. So I don't want you just to type. I want you to start writing again. I know some of you forgot, but there's these little things called pens, and there's this thing called paper. And I literally want you doing some memory technique. And it is reading, not listening, and it's writing instead of typing. And those are really, really critical. If you've never taken a speed reading or a memory and development class, they're critical, and it changes you. It changes you drastically. Those of you who ever played a musical instrument, it changes your brain. It changes the way you have memory. All these cool things that I'm a huge believer in. So I want you to get a pen and paper. And the way I want you taking notes is just about things, right? Your general stuff with down the middle, either on a different piece of paper or draw a line, right? So about, partway through, you're going to draw a line. And on the one side, you're going to write my actions. And then those actions can go into this thing or however you use your calendar. So this isn't just a motivational happy joy call. This is let's get stuff done, while you're on the call and make sure that 2022 is set for amazing success. All right. So note taking, the problem, if you take you write actions in the general journal of your writing and taking notes, doesn't really work well. If you want the replay, let's go to the next slide, Steve. If you want the replay, this is your last minute. I know our text said we aren't going to do this, but go ahead and move the slide, Steve. Hello out there. Hello. We are going to offer another moment of a VIP. There's, I think our team's out there. Did they fall down? Where are they? There we go. Back up in action. We're going to move fairly quick through these, Steve, so stay right with me, please. This is your last chance, and this is serious. Just like we did on December 21st. Those of you know we're serious. It's $47 right now. You go to the link. And I can tell you my interview with Sharon Lechter is different than you've ever seen. I have another interview with Dr. Dave, who has an app on goal setting, has taught goal setting in a very specific, again, cellular way. And then I have actually a brain development interview. I have a business plan and a wealth plan process that's just world class. It's past IRS inspections. It's so darn good, and audits. So our VIP is huge. It's hours and hours and hours of things that you're going to have, and you will get them after 7 o'clock tonight. And so we're going to go from now till 6. At 6 o'clock, this room will stay here, and those of you that are VIP will move to another room. So we're going to do a 10, 9, 8 countdown right now before we move slides, and then this will move up. So don't be those people who say, oh, I don't need a replay. You do need a replay. And I'll tell you the main reason why you need this replay, if you didn't do the replay from last time, you need this replay to share with your family. And if you guys are going to continue to be influenced by your family and friends, right, who are part of the problem of your inherited problems of money, right? Because most people don't have a circle of wealthy people around them. You have people who are tolerating you, or you're tolerating them. And I have zero tolerance, right? And I need you to have a lot less tolerance about what you're allowing in your life. My point is the replay for this. If you want this conversation in your household, you want this conversation around a kitchen table, you want this conversation with people that are significant, you're going to want the replay to share it freely once you have it. We don't care once you have it, about tonight, because you want them to get into goal setting. I don't know how many people over the holiday, we do this very specific thing, and I write about it in my Yes Energy book. But when my son was, I think 2 or 3, like when he barely could start to write, we started goal setting. I would just do it with him. And of course, he didn't know what that was, but I would set goals for him about his skiing, his going to school, his writing, his running, his athleticism, whatever. I would set goals. So we literally would take like cardboard paper. We'd cut out what looked like a stocking. So we made it fun because he was really young, but now it's a thing. And we've done it now. We just did it over the holiday. We do it on January 1. We took the stockings and you put a line down the center, and you reflect on what are you going to get accomplished in 2021, right? What happened? I stayed alive. I about died on January 3rd, 2021. So my biggest theme of 2021 is I'm living, and I'm thriving, and I'm healthy, and I'm skiing, and I'm having fun. But I can tell you, sitting in a trauma center ICU unit a year ago was no fun, and I was still there a year ago today. It was very exciting. So seriously, we did. What do you reflect on, and what do you want for 2022? So this conversation is in our household immensely, whether everybody likes it or not. I did a little extra to give you some time. It's askloral.com/VIP47, right? VIP47. And then you will have it at the end of tonight, after we process the replays. That'll be the only way that you get the replays from tonight's goal setting and value setting. So go get it. If you say I'm in the table, because I know it's a lot of you say, it doesn't matter. Like none of it matters of where you are. It's not about tonight. It's not about tonight's conversation. All right, so let's go into tonight's conversation. Keys to success. We're going to talk about 8 areas. I have an expert that's part of the VIP package who's going to talk about 7 areas. You can combine them how you want. I don't care if you come down to 5 areas of your life, but go ahead and put them up, Steve. I was trained at the master level of coaching in an 8 areas model, so I like the 8 areas, and I keep them separate. The one that I add that most people don't add is number 7, your physical environment. So let me go through them from the top. Money. So money has a lot of subcategories. It's how much are you going to make? How much are you going to keep? How much are you going to invest and put to work? Your career and personal development and business, that's like one big category, is what are you going to do to grow, right? What are you going to do to grow? What are places like this year, cryptocurrency, NFTs, and is a huge one for me. So I'll just kind of share my stuff as I've been going on. And we'll narrow it down. Right now, I want you to go wide. Anything that you want in the money category. What do you want? So again, this is where you have that little journal, like just start making a list. What do you want around money? Maybe you want to teach your significant other. Maybe you want, I'm going to speak to all of you who don't have a spouse that gives a crap about this and thinks you're crazy that you're here and you're secretly hiding out somewhere in your house watching me because somebody's going to make fun and say, oh my gosh, you're going to do that again? Let's just go to the bar and hang out, or let's go blah, blah, blah. No, you should never be embarrassed that your desire to learn money. So for a lot of you, I would just say in your career and business, it's to learn money, get financially literate, and then give yourself some scales on a scale of 1 to 10. How financially literate are you? And I'm saying a 10 is you're a multimillionaire, thriving and living corporate life. You own nothing, you control it all, and you have trust. So if you don't even have that and proper life insurance, I got to add that. If you don't have that, you are not a 10. Usually we meet people at around a 2, 3, or 4, and we get you to a 10 as you become a millionaire. Your health, obviously, very critical. And I want specifics, right? And I got a big checklist in that one because I'm still recovering. I lost my spleen, was kind of the output of my accident. That's lifetime. And it affects your blood in all sorts of odd ways. So I got a lot going on in my health category. Spirituality, faith, whatever you want to call that, your relationship to God, universe. Again, don't get attached to words and have that be a reason to back in or back out. Just make them your words if you don't like my words. You need to get the principles of goal setting in areas of your life. Family, right, to whatever degree. Some of you think family's blood. I think that the big table, for example, and a lot of you are my financial family. I know that. I've designed it that way because I don't talk in my Nebraska family like I talk to you, right? And we have these conversations. Your significant relationship. So for example, my daughter's 15. She didn't have to fill that one out, right? She's like, that one's void for her right now, right? And I'm happy about that. So physical environment, this is the one that I did at. I think how you live from your house to just be, I took this out of really Tony Robbins' work, out of being in state. You affect how you're in state. You decide. Now, until you're really mentally strong, most of you don't live by mental capacity and congruency. You live by emotion that is random. And so you have this random process that goes on out of emotion, not a strategic plan that has a lot of mental capacity and compartmentalization. I know those are a lot of words, but it's critical. I can't wait to train you. How many of you want your mind trained the way that mine was trained to think? And mine was very trained. Yes, I was absolutely blessed. And then I had a lot of training. And it's okay if you say, oh God, no, I don't want to be you. It's okay. But I've been told that too. But I can tell you the mental, acuity of the way you process is essential to doing good deals. You cannot run around this life and become millionaires and do damn good deals and have partnerships if you don't develop that strength, right? One of my sons, right, for this year, I got him the book 2 years ago, Emotional Intelligence. It's a really old book, but it's a great beginner book for starting to understand. So I'm just going to give you some things to do, is starting just to understand emotional intelligence and the command of your mind, and how does that really work. So your physical environment, from your car to your house to your apartment to your, how you live, down to how do you want to work out? Like, do you work out to music or do you work out in silence? I see people skiing with music as they're out. I ski in complete silence. And quite honestly, I love my own days. All right. So what is your thing? What's going to drive you to those goals? And then you got to have fun and you better have some friends. So where are all in these areas of your life? And I also want to speak to a word called balance. A lot of people throw that word around. I take it very seriously, again, taught by a mentor, that balance, if you're like legitimately on a scale, means you're stagnant, right? If you look at a food scale, is a way to say balance. And so I just didn't like it. I just say, why don't you just have the life you want, have everything you want? Now, if you like balance, the thing I would caution you on, and if you use that word, is it's never going to be equal. There are going to be times in your life, and this year might be one, that you're going to pick 1 or 2 of these areas and you're just going to go accelerate. Like last year, just because of my January 3rd accident, my health came to the top and it was not negotiable. I mean, it was at the very top for the primary part of actually the year. It was my 2021. Some of you have to make money. And it's not that everything else gets ignored, but you've got to give that focus. You've got to give that energy. You've got to say, I have to learn this. Not because I have to, because I just have to. But I'll tell you, if you're going to walk the planet with the most interesting dynamics that anyone has had to live through, you have to learn money, and you're going to have to learn business and be more sophisticated than you've ever been. And then there's times where you just want to take breaks and go, you know what, I'm going to go, now that those are handled, we're doing well, I'm just going to go focus on my walk of faith. I'm going to go focus on my family. So you're never going to have it all exactly the same. To say that this is going to be an even pie of 8 would be a very misleading goal. So I'm going to pause there because I want to bring Adam into our conversation. I know, Thomas, you're in the background. Eileen is out there. Steve, what else would you all want to share in this conversation of just the areas of your life and how critical it is? Adam, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, each of these areas, I mean, just breaking it down. And one of the things that I would talk about, if you're not taking action, sometimes it can be challenging. I know people go, well, you got to take massive action. Well, you don't go from inaction to massive action without some help sometimes. And so one of the great coaches throughout history have talked about the 1% rule. Can you get better today by 1%? And I used to think that, if you improve by 1% a day for a year, how much better are you going to be? Most people say 365%. But they neglect one of the most powerful forces in all the universe, according to Albert Einstein, compound interest. It's actually more like 3,700% that you'll grow. So sometimes instead of thinking, oh, I got a 10x, and sometimes we get overwhelmed with that, it's, hey, what's one thing I can do today with my money, my career, each of these areas? What's my 1% in each one of these areas? Can you just stop and imagine for a moment where your life would be if you were 3,700% better in all 8 of these areas?
3,700%. I love that. Yeah. All right, Eileen, anything you want to add to this is just important. I mean, you should have these just top of mind and be able to at least have the top goals in each of these categories for your life.
And what's important for me is what you measure will grow. So you need to have a starting point. You need to start taking those steps towards that end result that you want to achieve. So as you're measuring that, it's going to grow exponentially into your life.
Absolutely. Let's go to the next slide and let's do some measuring. Speaking of that, you didn't even know it was coming, and here it is. All right, so Steve, you have it in really small type, so I'm just going to let you read that up to the top. Right. So what are you committed to creating 100,000 in new income? So even if you're a millionaire, is there an area that you want an extra $100,000? Yes or no? Right. Or you just want to speak to somebody because you're not clear. Right. So do you want it? Yes or no? Right. And Steve, tell me when the surveying is complete. We have a lot of people.
One moment. Yep.
And then number 2, we have launched. In fact, we are in our second price rung already. Are you interested in Done For You marketing automation? We are going to do it. We've heard us talk about it. We are underway. In fact, people are signing contracts today. We just opened up our contracting to do it for you. And we have an unlimited amount of people that we can take. We have partnered with a team who has an army, just amazing volume. So we're excited because we don't have to say yes or no, and we have no hyper growth issues. We can say yes to 100 of you right now and do it all. That's how good this group, our team that we built it's so good. And the reason you need that is you have to have databases. I have 4 of my companies we're doing this. Scott and I are doing this together. Jason, you and I are going to do it together. Kyle and I are going to do it for our book together. Because that is building a little bit of a different database. And then our Attainable Wealth with Benz and I are going to be doing it as well, because all of it is different. And then the last one is, are you committed to living corporate life? So if I have to say, what do we do, right? What do we really do? We help we help you make millionaires, right? This is what we do. We make millionaires. But you say, well, how do I get to be a millionaire? Well, you got to make some money. You got to make a hell of a lot of it. And as an entrepreneur, you got to get to at least 6 figures or somehow supplement that. But you cannot just have a job and then ignore the greatest tax code in the history of our world and in his world, because I have literally owned and had companies and offices from Circular Quay in Sydney, Australia, to London, to Calgary, Alberta, to Belize. I've been around the world. I mean, we've had fun. But living corporate life where your children are employed, you have Roth IRAs for those kids. I mean, where you're truly living, where you own nothing and you control it all. That's corporate life. How many of you want that? Right? So do the survey and let's jam. And I'm curious if you don't want corporate life, and I'm not going to say this sarcastically, but I'm curious then why you're here, because it's what we teach. I mean, you could take subsets of it, so you don't have to answer that right now. And I totally appreciate that you don't understand what it means, because we'll keep teaching you that. But if you don't want it, I mean, we're not Susie and we're not Dave Ramsey. And I don't say that sarcastically or disrespectfully. I would really invite you, those of you the few that said no, to understand it, because you are leaving at minimum, if you just start the game, you're leaving 30, 40, 50,000 on the table annually, if you don't play. And so just interesting. So no, not living the lifestyle of love running around the world. I mean, I've done all that before. I have no intention to do that again. I'm going to go back on a whole bunch of safaris though. That's one of the greatest experiences of life. All right. So Steve, you think we're good with the poll? Well, we're,
yeah. How many have we, let me check and see how many have done it so far.
Yeah, we can leave the poll for just a moment and go ahead and click on the next slide while we leave that on the screen on the Zoom, because most people are on Zoom. I just want to give you an update. We're so excited. This is actually going to be a continued campaign. We didn't think it would be, but we have to, because we just got, you talk about a campaign of automated marketing. This campaign of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire created thousands and thousands of leads, thousands and thousands, direct sales straight to the big table, direct sales straight to head of the table. And our intention every year is to give away $100,000 of tuition. That has been a goal for over a decade. Well, this year it got a little out of hand because we joined every social platform when we did it. So go ahead and go to the next slide and we'll show you how out of hand we got. I mean, it was a little crazy when we added it up. So we didn't just give away 300,000. Go ahead and click the slide. We gave away $332,346.05 of tuition and value. And here's what I would say to a lot of you. If you haven't played Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Steve, go ahead and put the link in there. The wheel is so much fun. So Anna, we're going to keep it going and we're going to continue this wheel and continue this campaign. So we're going to neutralize it off the new year and make it a monthly goal where every month we're going to do at least $50,000 in new tuition. So a year from now, with this campaign and that campaign continuing, our goal is to do over $1 million in tuition support and education, financial literacy. So we're going to continue. We're super excited. This is one of those say yes and figure out hows. We just said, we need a holiday campaign. Let's go do this one. And it was so successful. So those of you who do automated marketing, you can do your version of this. Who wants to be a whatever you want to be? Who wants to be healthy? Who wants to be whatever you all do? You can use a version of these campaigns. That's what I'm talking about. This could be done for you. And so I just want you to notice, I mean, building your wealth cycles, we did 127 units. I want to point you down to the most disturbing for me, and it is disturbing. My game is extraordinary. And I'm not just saying that. I was part of the design. It was 2 big table clients that were doctors and one was an anesthesiologist that designed my game. That's just a hobby they have in the background. I'm like, are you guys crazy? You have no idea. I didn't think they could do it. Anyway, you now know the game, those of you who have it. But notice 174 of you have an opportunity to get the game at a highly discounted price. I mean, not cost, but close to cost. I think we've only shipped about 20 of them. So we still have 154 of you that need to get in gear and get the game and get it put on your kitchen table for 2022. 187 Yes Energy books. We've only shipped about 40 of those. So hello, kids, let's go. Like just because you spun the wheel and you got something, brain tap, 81, only about 30 of you actually went all the way through. And brain tap is something like our whole, my kids both have one. I got some for the Georgia Southern football team. You need to be doing that 2 or 3 days a week to fix your brain, change your brain, shift your brain. Jason had a home run, insurance strategies, but I can guarantee you, Jason, if you want to come live, did you do 172 strategies? I promise that probably did not happen.
Nope.
Scott, right? So come on, guys, if you did this, you have these, and all of these guys are going to start charging and they do charge for their strategy sessions. So we're excited that it got given away, but now you have to use it. So this is Loral, and you've been listening to my podcast. If you've enjoyed this, I have a couple things you can do that are completely up to you. Number one, take my quiz. Go to integratedwealthsystems.com and take the quiz. You will find that there's one of 4 personalities, financial personalities we call them, that you're going to fall into. So as you take the quiz, it'll actually go through and identify, are you in stagnant cash flow, right? Are you overpaying taxes? Do you have debt issues? Are you a lifestyle junkie? Where are you? And then from there, it goes to a video that actually gives you some solutions on how to correct that problem. So again, go to integratedwealthsystems.com, take my quiz, and we'll go from there.
Thanks for listening to the Real Money Talks podcast. Your host has been Loral Langemeier, author of 5 New York Times bestsellers, money expert on Dr. Phil, CNN, CNBC, The Street TV, Fox News, and The View. Want to learn more about off-Wall Street investing, tax strategies, and multi-million-dollar business strategies? Visit liveoutloud.com/podcast for past episodes, show notes, and resources. For some special wealth-building gifts only for Loral's podcast listeners, visit liveoutloud.com/podcast gifts. Do you have a burning question for Loral? Visit askloral.com to submit your question, and it may just be covered on a podcast episode. So stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to get new episodes every week.